For those of you who have been here before, you already know the drill, but for those of you who are new, what today is all about is we're going to be going through the top 5 report submissions for this month's particular challenge. We're going to be going through the reports in a randomized order, of course, so you don't know exactly who's going to be the winner. The winner is going to be announced at the very end. Once we go through the reports, what we do is we provide our feedback on it. What are the things that we like? What are the things that we think might have been done a little bit differently? And the main idea about this feedback is the same way as it works in real life, right? Take everything with a grain of salt. You listen to the feedback. It doesn't mean necessarily that you have to implement every little bit of things that we mentioned here, right? No, you have to consider them. Because at the end of the report, a good report developer listens to the feedback and adapts to it. There are some golden rules that you try to follow, right? You use the right visuals, don't overcrowd the reports, and so forth. But everything else has to follow the customer and actual user of the report. And this is one of the most key points whenever you're going into this career is trying to understand and trying to familiarize yourself with a lot of different techniques, a lot of different variations of the even the same chart. Trust me, a single chart can be shown in hundreds of different variations. Each of them has their own benefits, and each of those has their own cons. So you have to kind of see these things and think about them very carefully. But that's the main idea. Talk about the report, give the feedback, announce the winner, and hopefully have an amazing time. Right, Federico?
Of course, if you're not having fun, we are not having fun. So if we are having fun and you're having fun, everybody having fun, and that is the most important thing.
Absolutely. And if you're not having fun, do let us know about it in the feedback. Because at the end of the day, what else are we doing here, right?
Yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna grab the screen, share the correct one. Let's go right here, make sure this is the right one. Yeah. So once we go live, there we go. So the first report that has gotten itself into the top 5 comes from Sayed Ahmadi. So congratulations. And we're going to be taking a closer look at the report itself. So yeah, by the way, is actually in the comment section as well. So congratulations to you. So let's open up the report and take a closer look at it. So for this report, for me personally, what I liked about it is it kind of had a few little things that I think were executed very, very neatly. Before I even talk about the overall feeling, I think on this page, the third one, I really like this part, which kind of grabs your attention and calls you to the action. It tells you exactly what the problem is, it tells you what to focus on. That point is also emphasized on the chart with conditional formatting, just to emphasize on that one particular column to kind of grab your attention. I think it was done very neatly in these two. As for the matrix, I would say I would reconsider the way how you show this initially. And here's the reason why. Right now, if I look at the top action point, so this is what I'm supposed to be looking at first of all, right? Because this is the key point that you're telling me, hey, this is the top thing to look into. The fourth flag triggered in investment analytics and data tools. And instead of being able to just take a straight look at it, I need to scroll up and down and find the investment. So what I would have probably done here, I know it doesn't look extremely glamorous straight away because you want to make things look very good as well, but I would probably start it off with a collapsed version of it and also play around with the coloring of the fonts. The reason for this is, again, you want to grab that user's attention and point them to the direction where it's supposed to look into. So in this case, if it's investment analytics, at least give me the option to look straight into this. Everything else I can go through afterwards, but you're guiding me towards that one point, and I want to get there as fast as possible, right? I'm not saying that this execution is bad. No, it's still good because it allows me to go on a granular level, see that there's more information, because we all know, right? As much as we would love people to know everything about the report, they usually don't, right? So the more details you give to them, the better they have sort of navigation around the report. But yeah, my personal opinion, I would probably have it collapsed and then also play around with the font colors with it, with the conditional formatting, and highlight the same portion right here. That's the one thing that I really loved about this report. Overall, the way I felt about this report is I felt it's very clean. It's not too cluttered. There's conditional formatting applied to places where it's supposed to be highlighting certain particular aspects of it, different KPIs, slicers, that's all good. Having the possibility to drill down, excellent. Clearing the filters, there we go. We can reset the page. So from a navigational perspective, I really liked it. The one thing that, and I think this is just me probably, that threw me off a little bit in the very beginning is I didn't notice the page navigation, and I'll tell you why. I know every single one of us who's created a report in Power BI Desktop knows that the pages are going to be at the bottom half of the canvas, right? We know that. But as soon as we publish to the services, you have to remember that these people have never seen Power BI Desktop, right? They're working with a report that's in front of them. So my personal opinion is that navigation should be either on the left hand side or somewhere at the top of the report, similar to how you browse a web page, for example. Sort of give it a app like feeling, right? I like it, but I don't think that's the most efficient spot for it. That's the one thing. The one thing that I think very helps here is that you actually created sort of a subtitle and title that it says page one, page two. You kind of prompting that there is something. If you would have just left these names right here, I'm not entirely sure if everyone would even find the pages. So there's just something to think about. The charts itself, I think, are very good, efficient resolution as well, utilizing different capabilities of the chart, small multiples, thresholds, scatter plot as well for the average axis and everything. So that's all good. Uh, the only other thing is whenever you have these sort of situations where all the numbers are very close to each other, one of the things that I usually recommend or play around at least is for the value axis, there are different methods of scaling. By default, what we use in our charts is called visible, meaning that you're always going to be referencing zero line and then going from it, right? And that creates these sort of situations where if the values are very close to each other, you don't really see a lot of difference, right? The other option is to switch this to floating. Floating means that you're referencing the min-max values, and then these things become a lot more dynamic. There's pros and cons to both of them, so I would have played around with them. But I think overall, it's very well executed. Things work as they should. You're giving the opportunity for the user to filter through different dimensions. I wasn't able to break it straight away. I know Federico loves to break things, so maybe he found a way. But for me, I felt the report was very well executed. So congratulations.
No, I have decided not to break more reports anymore. And I found a couple of little things, but they are okay. I'm going to talk a little bit about the same that you said about the navigation bar. Okay, it's one of the principles of style is familiarity. Okay, and navigation is on the left or the top, always. Okay, remember that. That is very important. And then you haven't hide the pages and you have a double navigation because the button you say 1, 2, 3. You can navigate through there too.
Yep.
Okay, so you have double navigation. Think about which one you want to have, but navigation better at the top or the left. Okay, it's a rule. Then I love how well laid out the template it is. Okay, the separation between the visual is clean. Like I don't think mine are that clean actually, and I try to be very clean in my approach. That is fantastic. The way you have actually framed every little visual. I can tell you that there is a 20 pixel distance in between on the side of the chart and below the chart, and on the top and the bottom, you have about 40 of the double in separation, probably 40 pixel separation at the top of the bottom, and then between visual you have around 20. So that is impressive. And color palette, great. The red might tend to confuse me as are they negative values or not. It can be a brand color, and then you need to explain it to me. If not, I'm thinking that the red columns are bad, but I don't know why. Okay, go to page 2, please.
Hmm.
Yes, the curled hair in the bubble chart.
Yeah.
Yeah, that for me, you are aiming at killing somebody there, man. Yeah, got it on the scope, boom, shoot it. Okay, but it looked fantastic on the otherwise.
All right.
Page 3, please. Yep, I think that the note below are quite interesting. Thank you for that note. No, super. Hey, I know Sayat for a long time too. Okay, and I can see that massive improvement. So well done, congratulations, and hey, maybe there is more to come for you. Who knows?
Yeah,
Well done.
absolutely. All right. So let's go for the next one. The next submission that has gotten itself into the top 5 comes from Aniket Survey. So congratulations, Aniket. So let's go for this. Open up the report. Make sure I haven't filtered anything. There we go. All good. So for this one, Federico and Marta, I'm gonna give the floor to you guys. Which one? Who wants to start?
Marta, would you like to start or
Yeah, I
go
can
ahead?
start. Okay. Okay. I really like how this dashboard is presented. It looks clean, clear, and well structured. I especially like the filter menu. It gives the impression of browsing a web star while also saving space, which is a nice touch. On the first page, in this page, I would suggest adding some small details like punctuation marks on the cards to make the numbers easier to read. Mm, when I first looked at the dashboard, I was briefly confused by the use of colors. For example, green appears in all of the charts, but doesn't always represent the same thing. It's something worth considering to improve consistency. Okay, on the second page, yeah, the priority color are consistent, which is great, but I still recommend starting the priorities based on urgency, no? Because it's sorted by alphabetically, I think.
Hmm.
And for
Yeah.
me, no, it would be better to start it differently. Um, I think that the clear filters button currently only reset the filters, but not the visuals. It's
Yeah.
somehow confused. I would suggest adding a bookmark to reset the entire page to its original state with no filters applied. But overall, I think it's a solid piece of work that successfully answered the key questions. So great job.
Okay,
Thank you
Federico.
much. Yes, I actually, the thing of the report is one of the Power BI things. It's
Yeah.
one of the very few times that I actually like the color palette of the thing. Okay, I agree with Martha about the green color, where it's actually applied, because if you use color, remember, if you use color for a category, every time you call that color is for that category. It's as simple as that. Somehow you are falling into a trap, okay, when we do that. So we give categories a color or we don't, and we kind of don't tell people green is for America because they are expecting that America is all the time green. Okay? But I like that. Again, good separation between the object, good color palette, icons are okay. You know me, I know a fan of icons because if I go a title, I don't need the icons. Otherwise, just an object there to make it nice, but without any other point. Okay, if we go to page number 2, please. I don't know about the filters in there.
Hmm.
You see, you go, if you put all the filter in a lane, okay, and below the visual, it make it more familiar to me. Okay, I can read, there are filters, okay, but I do not associate the filters and below these two cards. I don't know if these filters are for the cards or for the entire report. Okay, and another thing, as Martha mentioned, if you use the clear filters, okay, that is the only thing you're gonna clear. You're not gonna clear any filtering you are doing by visuals, and that become a problem because you can clean the filter, but you don't clean any visual that you have interacted with. Other than that, an excellent report. I like how clean our participants are presenting report. And I, the person who believes that simple is better than clean is better and nicer. So well done. Congratulations.
Absolutely. Congratulations. From my side, the only thing that I've noticed on this report, and this was happening a lot recently, I know that I've talked about this many times before, but guys, pay attention to number formatting. If you're not putting any display units here, then why is there a display or abbreviation here? It should be consistent across the board. That's the one thing. And the second thing is, if you look at the chart right here, for example, this is one of the reasons why you would need decimals. Both of them are 5K. So where's the difference? Right? So add at least one or two decimals to user to see the difference, or use the whole number. Other than that, congratulations, it's a good work. So let's go to the next one. The next submission that has gotten itself into the top five comes from Zulay Vivas. Zulay, congratulations in getting into the top five. Let's open up the report and take a closer look at it. So for this one, I really like the overall feeling of it, right? What I liked about this is the color palette itself. I'm not entirely sure about the very lightest shade of the green. I would probably make it a little bit more darker, just because I know it's a personal preference. Don't shoot the messenger. It's what it is. I would just prefer a little bit
You
darker.
don't like turquoise color.
Yeah, I
Coral,
like a little.
coral. It's coral.
I don't know.
I actually checked the color with a color palette, and it's coral or turquoise.
Maybe I'm just
Depends.
afraid of corals. I don't know. But yeah, that's one thing. Overall, like I said, I like the card system itself. The one little detail that I liked about this report very much is, of course, the dynamic title right here, which shows you
Yeah.
all the dimensions that are getting cross filtered. And I can tell you from experience, this is actually something that's getting a lot more, I don't know, popularity lately, I would say. And this is what a lot of people are looking into their reports as well, because whilst Power BI is an amazing tool that allows you to cross filter the information, and you might say, hey, but if you select something here, there's a highlight there, then there's, for example, a drill down here, selection there, and so forth. I cross filtered the data. That's all good. But at some point, you can do whatever you want. You can't escape from it. People want to make screenshots of this and quickly send it to the manager or something because that's a particular view, right? And if they haven't touched the report, it's very time consuming for them to understand what exactly am I looking at right now. So having some sort of a dynamic title that basically shows you the current view, right? The currently applied filters or whatever, it's something that allows you to save a lot of time. So even without the possibility of this being an interactive, because you do have the possibility, but if you put it in a PowerPoint presentation or if you just send a screenshot to somebody, they can still understand the context. So that's very much appreciated. The other part that I really liked about this is that this was even further extended in the card itself, and it's showing me what this measure actually represents. So instead of just saying me month over month, it's telling me what months are being compared. It's a very small little detail, but it tells me the story a lot better. Because this is usually one of the things that people run into a pitfall basically. If you reset everything, you can see every year, every month, and you're telling me month over month. My question is, what month versus what month is being compared? And you tell me exactly that information. So that is very appreciated. The little timeline that shows the trend, like it, highs and lows, all good. Trend line showing the average, a quick reference line, so no issue whatsoever there. Uh, the circular gauge chart showed completion or compliance within the 2 days, which I think was the SLA for this challenge itself. Yep, there we go on the little tooltip as well, explaining to me why those 2 days or less are important. Because otherwise, if you open up the report just saying tickets less than 2 days, well, why not 3 days? Why not 4 days? Well, this gives you an explanation why 2 days. That's the indicator of SLA compliance. So that's very good. The use of field parameters allows me to switch between different metrics on the same chart. So very good execution here. The one thing that I also liked about this is that it actually had these little tooltips. And I think report page tooltips are very good if you use them correctly. And I'd say in this case, it is being used correctly. Because a lot of the time, what people do is they try to overcrowd the report page tooltip with a lot of information, which basically starts to feel like another page of report within a page of report and so forth, right? So there's just a lot of information. In this case, it just shows me a very quick split of the priority based on priority, how many tickets we had, how many we resolve on the per average, and what's the resolution time in days. So that's all good. The pie chart itself is good. The one thing that I would probably do, and this is just me being me after spending 8 years in Zoom charts, I would sort the colors in a way that it starts with the darkest and goes into the light. So it kind of creates a uniform. Otherwise, I know what you've done here is you assign the color to the category, which also makes sense. But sometimes when I start switching around, so these colors start to jump around, right? Whereas if you sort it based on the value and apply a base fill color, you would always have the darkest portion in the top right. So again, it's a sort of a trade-off in trying to figure out, okay, are we going for the visual or are we going for the very analytical approach? Those are two different approaches. But it's just something I noticed. In the priorities page, again, very clean and nice. Same explanation as well. What different, and this is one thing that I'm starting to notice a lot more in the reports as well. And one thing that I don't think people utilize enough is you can use very small little elements within your charts. Just place an icon that allows the user to get more context if they hover over it. Don't do this for every single chart, because I can tell you it can backfire very fast if you do this for every single chart, for every little bit, right? Oh, I could explain this, I could explain this. You're creating just too much noise on the report. But having just few of them helps the user to understand, for example, very nuanced aspects or any particular parts of the report. So that's very well done as well. We go to countries as well, very neatly. The spacing is there, different approaches. Gotta give some love to Latvia. The only other thing that I think, and this might be the data set itself, but the reason why I noticed this is, well, I'm from Latvia, so of course I wanted to filter out Latvia, right? Makes sense. Familiarity, right? But then you end up in Germany. So it might be the data. It's just something I noticed. But don't worry, Zulay, we didn't take away points for that. So that's all good. The other thing is this little tooltip as well for the agent. Again, instead of trying to put too much information in a singular page by just clustering with tens of different visuals, you're hiding them and giving the opportunity to the user to get to them if they need to. If not, just don't use it, right? So these little notions are very good. The floating axis I would have been using here just to kind of see the difference a little bit better. The sorting, I like that you've done this in this way as well. So you're starting with the point of interest, months as well. That's all good. The guide was there, different showcases on how to utilize this. So that's a good. And of course, the very important part is even if I drill down, the reset resets everything. So I can start fresh from the start rather than just clearing some slicers or anything that I would apply. Overall, very good report, very well executed. Congratulations in getting into the top five. Marta, from your side, any comment?
Okay. I wanted to comment that I've been following Zulai's work throughout the different challenges. And honestly, every dashboard she's presented has been great. And I really like her approach. I think that this dashboard is very clean and clear. And you can immediately get a sense of the situation with just a quick glance. I like it a lot. Um, I especially appreciate the legend, as you say, Davis, at the filter legend. Um, Only one little thing on the first page. in the tooltip, in the third page.
Countries.
Yes, in the
This
I
one?
think that it's in the
Yeah.
Countries,
countries
countries,
page.
page.
Page. Sorry,
Ah,
maybe
page.
it's my English. Sorry.
It could be just me as well. Don't worry about it.
No, the only thing I like a lot this dashboard, but the only thing that I notice is in the tickets per month in the tooltip when you are yes here in
Oh, come on.
okay. Oi, what's happened with this
There we
tooltip?
go.
Okay, it
It's
just
Friday. It's loading.
yeah. There's a small language mix-ups in this tooltip. It's just this. I think so. I sí, variación, ¿no? Pone o algo así.
Yes,
But
variación.
see,
Variación.
that's something that's happened when working in multiple languages. It's happened to me all the time. It's like just it, but I think it's a fantastic piece of work. O sea, I like a lot. Congratulations.
Just a couple of things. We are there.
Mhm.
You are mixing languages. You are putting, no, go to page 3 there. You are putting resolve ticket and the variación in Spanish. Little detail, little thing, but that make it better. I have nothing else but to say, apart from go to the next visual, next to it. Go to the other column, wake up, Ivy, to the right. There. Why there is no tooltip there? I'm waiting for tooltip. You are giving me tooltip all over the place, and suddenly this one has no tooltip. I am missing my tooltip now. Okay, that will be my only little thing. Why I am not good enough. I don't deserve attention. She didn't prepare a tooltip for me here. Okay, but apart from that, quite equal to Marta. I think Sulai is a person that has developed into a excellent report developer, that she is taking into consideration every single trick or tip that we are providing, and she's applying it, okay, to the work he does. So congratulations, Sulai. Excellent. And I love those icons. They're fantastic. That little shadow in the icon, believe me, I will marry them if I could. Congratulations, Sulai. It's another great job.
Yeah, absolutely. So congratulations again, and I guess we're ready to move on to the next one, right?
Yeah.
So the next report that has gotten itself into the top five comes from Akbara Dixon Okoloyo. So congratulations to you. Let's open up the report and take a closer look at it. So the overall feeling is this does feel definitely like an app, right? And this is one of the reasons why it's very important for the page navigation for Zula as well, right? For the page navigation to be in a familiar place, because it just makes things a lot easier and faster. The charts are very simple, which is good. It's not a bad thing. Don't get my words twisted. But the one thing that I paid attention to, and this is just that kind of caused a lot of confusion in me. If you have two slicers, I get it. Those are two different, but why put them in both sides of the report? Just keep them right next to each other. There's no reason to split them up so much. The only reason would be if you would, for example, have some sort of a separation on the page and have one slicer for one side and the other one for the other part. But if these apply to the report in general, have them right next to each other so the user feels that it's sort of a continuation of the previously applied filter, right? Because essentially every filter is a subset of the original data set, right? And you don't want them to be kind of like seeing the country, but for whatever reason not noticing the queue. Want them to see that there's two different slicers right next to each other. That's one thing. Uh, the other thing is the ticket count itself is good month over month. Thanks for not showing me a random number that you actually thought about this case. The reference within the gauge visual is it's a small little detail, but again, there's two and two. I'm guessing this is the threshold, and this is just a separation between different blocks. But the 2 2 kind of feels just visually a bit weird. right? I would probably get rid of one of it, most likely the white one. So to keep it clean, that's the actual reference value, and use the two as a reference itself. Month over month growth, that's all good. Timeline of the chart. For this one, I would probably go with a different font color for the labels, because these ones, at least for me, it might have can be, for example, one thing you have to remember is different screens are going to showcase colors differently. So if you find yourself using colors that are very close to each other, or if there's not enough contrast, you're getting close to the part where somebody with a different monitor settings might not even be able to see something, right? So, and for me, for example, when I look at these, everything that goes over the line, it always gets cut off. Sure, it's not making a massive case right now for the dark blue, but for the red one, there's no contrast between these two colors. So you can see, for example, where it goes through. I can see the 4, but the 6 and 2, they kind of disappear with the noise of the chart itself. So one thing that you could play around with is the label placement itself. Alternatively, don't forget that labels have a background. And this is also for our visuals, that's the same also for native visuals. If you cannot get them in a way where it's easily noticeable, add a little bit of a background to it. Or alternatively, see if the values are necessary to be there. Because the main idea about the chart is to, for example, showcase a trend and highlight certain parts of it, but you don't want the chart to just feel messy, right? But these are the things you can easily fix, so that's not the big issue here. Uh, the drill down is here, again, sorting based on a value, understandable in a donut chart, but similar to how Martha mentioned it in a different report, when it comes to priority and these sort of things, you usually want to sort it based on urgency, right? So whether you start with low, medium, high, or go the other way around, high, medium, low, you kind of want to get close to what people know and usually typically gravitate towards. That's one thing. The ticket types, like this part, not a fan of this part. You're giving me a comparison of previous month. Which month is that? Same as always, I would consider that to be the last month available. So what we do, we take 2025, last month is this, we take, should be 6.5, but it's a different number. So it's showing me something else, right? Be very careful with these measures. Do pay attention to it. Because trust me, in these challenges, it's not the biggest issue, right? But in your real life work, these numbers are going to be very important. You don't want to showcase something that is irrelevant. So that's something you want to pay attention to. The switches, I like that you're placing, like here, for example, see, the labels are very neatly packed to the side, that they're always there, I don't have to worry about them. Top 5 ticket handling queues, technical, these are fine. The only thing that I haven't gone through all the calculations, I'll be honest, but just looking at these numbers, I think that something might be off with the calculations, because I refuse to believe that customer service is 82% against compliance. It just feels a bit too off. Might just be me, because I'm in support. If I would see these numbers, trust me, I wouldn't be here tomorrow. I would get fired very fast. The resolution time, the heat map looks good. Locations, a little bit of a map chart. Lowest, most popular. That's all good. Optimization. The one thing though that I have to appreciate is I said that I don't like it, but at least you kept it consistent. That's the one thing that I can say very goodly done, in the sense that you at least force them to know where they are, right? You're not jumping them from side to side, from one to other, and so forth. So you're keeping them in the same position. The sentiment analysis allows you to filter out, give you a little bit of the understanding of what the ticket was about itself was good. The only other thing that I would probably want to see here is don't add elements that don't do anything, absolutely anything. So for example, for logout, what I would have at least done is probably just create a bookmark that takes you back to the overview page and you just start all over. Or take you to a hidden page and just say thanks for visiting or something. because otherwise it just feels like an element that has nothing to do with the report. I know the app like feeling, but you don't
No,
need elements that does
you
nobody.
cannot log out. You cannot log out with a button in Power BI. It's as simple as that.
Yeah. You can now. You can, Federico.
Can you?
Yeah, doing
Yeah,
this.
you click the X, no? Yeah,
The
that
massive
I
X
know.
solves everything.
Okay, file closed. No, I think I know Akbata for some time, if I can,
Yeah, of course.
and I know he is participating in many of the chat. I think even with this good looking, because he is good, he knows it's good, and he had this facility of creating quickly repo. I think he rushed this one out a little bit because I don't understand what this MON is doing with nothing, no value. And I'm clicking there to find a value. How you find a value? No,
Yep.
that
One.
MON in the car. Oh, there. Um, sorry, in my view, it's a bit pointless. Okay, then icons, guys, icons are supposed to be small. Okay, so you have big icon on the left in the navigation bar. Try the icon smaller and put it on top and below the label. Little icon, the label, and do your navigation there. There is a fantastic post by a designer talking about that. If you remember me, Akbata, I will send that post to you because it's quite interesting. Then let's go to the location page.
Last page. Yep.
No, location. That is
Allocation. Sorry, misheard
optimization.
you.
Okay, I know this was brought up by Miguel Mayer. It's one of the most pointless map I ever encountered in my life. Okay, it's quite nice when he turn around and go to the country, but you haven't done that, Akbata. There is a little trick when you click in the how do you call that? When do you do the map, and when you click in the Netherlands, it will turn to the Netherlands or will pop up. But you have not done that here. Look what happened when you click in the Netherlands. And now click in any country. Click. Click in, what is that one? The top of the one, Norway. I think it's Norway. Is that Norway?
Let me reset. Just broke everything.
No, it's
Yep.
not Norway. It had to
Netherlands.
be that one.
Sweden.
That one. Yeah. There you go. Is massively. It's peeling out to the right all over the places. I know we have seen that before, and I don't know why. I think Microsoft have a small challenge, and people is using this map again, but it doesn't tell me anything. I need to hover over to actually get that information. Otherwise, it's not telling me anything. And it's massive because it's smaller. Okay, you cannot see the map. Okay, so remember, let's go for something that we know it works and it's not just nice. Okay, other than that, Akbata, you're in the top 5 because you deserve it. You know what you can do and how quickly you can do your work. Don't rush it. Okay, if you can, you can. If you cannot, okay, and get to the next one. Okay, because your work is quality. So well done and congratulations to be on the top 5. Marta,
Okay. From my side, I just want to say that this was dashboard looks very polished and professional. I like it a lot. There are a few small formatting details I would tweak. For example, when you hovering over the clear slicer, the the tooltip could be clearer, no?
Hmm.
I don't know. I can read now, but to be clear to better experience. And on the second page, the
Yeah.
second one, yeah, I also noticed that the year slicer includes 2023, which appears to have no data. This might be an error worth checking. thought.
I have no data.
2023.
Yep,
Yeah,
no data.
it has
I told
happened
you he
to
rushed
all of
it.
us.
He rushed it.
But all in all, it's a very well done dashboard.
And let me make another little point about the rushing. If you go to the icon on the top right, it didn't even fill out the tooltip. It's just the normal tooltip. Click here. Click here
Yeah,
for what? Click here for what?
yeah, that's what Marta mentioned as well. The
Okay,
description of the
so
tool within the tooltips. Because the one thing that's going to confuse the users a lot is if you provide text within a tooltip, they at least, even if you keep it very simple, click here to reset filters or something, right? If you keep the default ones, if you use Power BI, you're not going to get confused for it too much. But if you're new to Power BI and you're getting the first Power BI report, imagine if you hover over a button, it just says, click here to follow link. What link?
what link?
Where am I
Exactly.
going with this? I'm not touching that because I don't know what it's going to do.
It's gonna break the report or something.
Yeah.
Yes.
But these are very small little details. But
Yeah,
at the end of the day,
exactly.
these details matter. They're those little details that make the whole impression. All right. So final report. So the final report that has gotten itself into the top five comes from Mauro Galeando. So congratulations to you. Let's open up the report and take a closer look at it. So from me, I think it's a little bit too overcrowded, at least the first view, right? Initially, I want the overview page to be very simple, but this gives a lot of information. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm guessing it would be good work for a more analytical approach, but for an overview, it seems like there's a lot of key points that you want me to focus on. What I would have done most likely is instead of creating everything, for example, because now everything's based on a ticket count, but they also have the average resolution time, the high priority tickets, and so forth. I would create some sort of a field parameter that would allow me to switch between the two values. Then just have one or two cards here. It would fit a lot more nicely, and then have the visuals. Other than that, the field parameter usage here I like. It allows you to switch between the categories, so that's a good approach. The timeline itself, not a super big fan of the native tooltip because of the split, but that's a personal feeling. The spacing is definitely something I noticed, and it's very simple to be fixed. If you don't know this, within Power BI, you can just select four items, for example, and on the top ribbon, you have format, align, and horizontally. So what that's going to do is it's going to take the first item, the starting point, the last item, the finish point or the end point, and everything in between gets spaced out evenly. So it's a very quick approach on how you can space out things. And most likely this is not on purpose. This is just haven't noticed this, right? But it's something to take a note of. The switching between the different priorities is good. The only problem I have with this is since these use split by priority, as soon as I choose one here, I only have one slice of the circle, I only have one line here, there's only one portion of the column. And at the same time, I could have just done the same by using the chart itself. So if I clear the filters, I could have just taken high here, right? Sure, I eliminate that part on these two charts because it would also focus only on one aspect of it, but at least I don't have three charts that just showcase one particular line or one particular dimension. That's one thing that I noticed. If I go to the second page, the page navigation definitely should have been brought out a bit more. It kind of gets lost in the crowd. But since it's at the top, like we talked about it, right? We kind of know where to look for things. So either at the top or at the side, I was looking for it. For this page, similar to the previous one, I think it's a bit too much. I'm not saying that it's a bad analysis. No, I think the way on how you analyze this is good, but it's just a bit too many cards because every single one of these has a trend line. If these would be just cards, I think it would be even better because then you can compact them a lot easier together. So for example, you could have if you keep all the same, have like two cards at the top, three at the bottom, just have a little bit better overview of it. The country split based on this one, the heat map. Other than that, I think it's good. Overall, one thing that I noticed across every single one of these reports, and I can tell you straight away the reason why I noticed this, right, is I work on the support side at ZoomCharts as well for technical support. So we have a report like this also for us. The one thing that I would always be looking for, and I can tell you every single person in support would be looking at least who has to look at the results, is I need to TC the tickets at some point. There should have been some sort of a detail page, which is basically the ticket itself, the subject, the title, the what's it called? Well, the content, basically, right? I know it has a name, but it's the content of the ticket. So the one of the reasons why this is so important is because what a manager would do when they come here, right? They have certain KPI that they're following through. For example, we had compliance to the SLA or something like that. If I see that there's a spike in tickets that are not compliant with the SLA that we have provided, I want to see who's creating those tickets, what the tickets were about, what are the subjects that I'm discussing there, and so forth. And I want to end up with those tickets in my hand because at the end of the day, I'm going to have a meeting with that person to discuss these tickets, right? But other than that, I think the report is good. I just feel that it's it has fallen in one of the pitfalls of every single report developer's career at some point, and that is you wanted to showcase too much at the same time. And we've all done that. And we all know how hard it is to say stop at some point, right? So I get how it is, but it's one of the things that you have to figure out when creating Power BI reports. There's too many dimensions, there's cross filtering and everything, there's a bunch of different visuals that you can use, but they have to feel light, unless it's a details page where you can go into more specifics. But yeah, Marta, from your side.
Nothing much to add. I think you you covered everything. Just a little detail in the total ticket by amount and priority. This one, um,
Hmm.
it's only my opinion, but I would remove the axis titles, as the chart title already makes this clear, to make it more clear. But it's
Hmm.
just a little detail to add. But overall, this is for me, it's a well executed job dashboard.
Okay. Have anyone mentioned the separation between the three donut charts?
Yeah, I
Alignment?
mentioned it. Yeah.
Okay. Um, what was Miss Galindo name? What is the name of the participant? Maura. Come on. Come on. We can do better. Okay. Lo podemos hacer mejor. I think what happened is that when she was closing the report, the laptop twisted to one side and the chat in the middle just slipped down, and therefore the little difference in there, these small details. And hey, guys, perhaps it's nothing. We can excuse it, but the client will point it out to you. Okay, and you're working for your client on behalf of a company. So what you are representing the quality of that company in preparing reports. So we need to actually capture these little details. Again, the same with the icons on the top. Haga clic aquí para seguir. Where do I go? Where is this taking me?
Hmm.
Okay. Don't get too much onto the fancy stuff. Let's get the basics sorted out. Okay. And when we have everything sorted out on the basic, we get into the complicated, the Q filter. If you have a filter and you have a visual with the filter, what happened? Click in there. There you go. Now we go a massive column in there with nothing more than the information that I already, it is there. Okay? So remember, this little detail, when you think Maura or Maria, is Maura or Maria?
Mar.
Maura. So in the top we have Maria. That is okay. When you think your report have finished, you still have 2 more hours to check. Okay, and I'm gonna repeat it again. Go to your boyfriend, go to your children, go to your friends, go to your mommy and daddy. Okay, what do you think about that? Somebody is gonna spot that little misalignment between the donut chart. Somebody gonna say, "Why is this?" I got a very good critic in my house, my son. Okay, every time I'm doing something, he's telling me why that, why no, and he give me a reason, and then he give me another perspective. Okay, and there is no one time that he is 100% happy, but that is okay with me because it's giving me options. Why no? Why yes? Why this? Sometimes I have to tell it to get off my room, get out my office because it's annoying. But you need to understand that this guy is telling you little mistake that we have not noticed before. So congratulations, Maura, and I think you're gonna have some more surprises later on when we announce. Okay, the FP20. Remember, guys, this is ZoomCharts.
Yeah.
Okay, then we will announce the FP20 winners that were selected by Marta and I in two categories, the English category and the Spanish category. Do we do the for the winners?
Yeah. That's why I
Maybe?
hid my screen just to make sure I find the
Okay,
right one.
go.
All right. So the winner for this month's challenge is. We're gonna post it live. Forgot to put the screen on share. Happens to the best of us. Congratulations,
Sulai.
Zulay.
Well done. Congratulations.
Okay,
Yep.
so like, I think we are going to have to kind of prohibit you for entering more challenge. You are going to win quite a lot. Then you're going to get very cocky. Okay. No, no, at all. Well done. You know, I am a fan. Congratulations. Your report is getting better and better.
From now on, only participation medals. That's it.
Yeah, no, no, yeah. Go somewhere else.
Yeah. No. Of course, you're more than welcome to participate. And I mean,
Of course.
at the end of the day, if nobody else can beat you, well, you have your bragging rights. So simple as that.
I'm not participating. If nobody can beat you, then we'll see myself obliged to enter the competition.
Under a pseudo.
Yeah, like I don't know.
We'll find one. But yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Zula, on getting the top report this particular month. Overall, it was very well executed. Like every single time we say, there's always some bits and pieces that we can comment on that you can always improve. But that's also on our job. It's not like we create the most perfect reports the very first time. This is why we give them to for others for verification. The one thing that you guys have to remember is that whenever you are developing the report, you're very biased to the result because you know exactly what's going to happen if you click on that button. You know exactly how to use the report. If you give it to somebody else, they're just exploring. So their feedback is very crucial to understand. Worst case scenario, do as I do it sometimes. I create a report, I go away from it for an hour or two, and then I go through it again with a little bit more clearer head. If you're going through it when you were just building it, you're not going to notice a lot of details.
Thank you, Marta, for joining us today. I hope you have a really good experience.
Yes, I have it.
Hey, we might need to call on you again when we're not judges or something.
Yeah,
Okay. I'm
as long
here
as you're
for
willing
you.
to join us here.
No, it was super fun, a real nice experience. Thank you for having me.
That's awesome. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for your attention. Don't forget, do we have a feedback form for this? We do have one, right, Alexandra? A quick
Any
reminder.
questions? Anything?
No, okay,
No.
never mind.
She said no.
No is no. So, without further ado, have an amazing rest of the day, evening, whatever time of the day it is for you. Thank you for joining and keep looking out for the next challenge. And we're looking out to see more amazing
Thank
submissions.
you. Remember, guys, our announcement with the winner are coming out in about 10-15 minutes. Thank you. Bye bye
You.
now.
Bye
Bye,
bye.
everyone.
Bye.